In the heart of a dense forest, cloaked in an eternal shroud of mist, stood an ancient mansion. Its decrepit facade loomed over the surrounding landscape like a brooding sentinel, whispering tales of forgotten horrors to any who dared draw near. Legend had it that the mansion was once home to the illustrious Van Helsing family, renowned for their expertise in the occult and their relentless pursuit of the supernatural. But as time wore on, the mansion fell into disrepair, its halls echoing with the whispers of malevolent spirits that lurked within. One moonless night, a group of daring adventurers ventured into the forest, drawn by tales of the mansion's dark past. Among them was Sarah, a spirited young woman with a penchant for the paranormal, and her friends, Alex, Emily, and Jack. As they approached the mansion, a chill wind swept through the trees, sending shivers down their spines. Ignoring the ominous signs, they pushed forward, determined to uncover the secrets that lay hidden within. Stepping over the threshold, they were met with an oppressive silence that seemed to suffocate the very air around them. The mansion's interior was a labyrinth of decrepit corridors and shadowed alcoves, each one seemingly more foreboding than the last. As they explored further, they began to feel the presence of something sinister lurking in the shadows, watching their every move with malevolent intent. Sarah's heart raced as she realized they were not alone in the mansion. The spirits of the Van Helsing family still lingered, bound to the earth by unspeakable evil. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream echoed through the halls, sending the group into a panic. Racing towards the source of the sound, they found themselves in a grand ballroom, its once opulent furnishings now faded and decayed. There, standing in the center of the room, was a figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes burning with unholy fury. It was the spirit of Elias Van Helsing, patriarch of the cursed family, twisted by centuries of torment into a grotesque parody of his former self. With a wicked grin, Elias beckoned to them, his voice a chilling whisper that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. "Welcome, fools," he hissed, "to your doom," before they could react. The room erupted into chaos as more spirits materialized from the shadows, their twisted forms contorting with rage and hunger. Sarah and her friends fought valiantly, but they were no match for the spectral horde that assailed them from all sides. Just when all hope seemed lost, a blinding light pierced the darkness, banishing the spirits back to the depths from whence they came. Standing before them was a figure cloaked in robes of purest white, her eyes blazing with righteous fury. "I am Selene, guardian of the light," she proclaimed, her voice resonating with divine power. "The spirits of the Van Helsing family have long plagued this land with their malevolence, but no more. With your help, we shall vanquish them once and for all, with Selene's guidance." Sarah and her friends embarked on a quest to cleanse the mansion of its dark legacy, facing trials and tribulations beyond their wildest nightmares. But with each victory, they grew stronger, their bond forged in the crucible of adversity. As they delved deeper into the mansion's secrets, they uncovered a sinister plot that threatened not only their lives, but the very fabric of reality itself. For the spirits of the Van Helsing family were but pawns in a game played by forces far older and more malevolent than they could ever imagine. Now, as they stand on the precipice of oblivion, Sarah and her friends must confront the true nature of the evil that lurks within the mansion's walls. For if they fail, the world will be plunged into eternal darkness, and the spirits of the Van Helsing family will reign supreme for all eternity. The journey led them to hidden chambers beneath the mansion, where ancient tomes revealed a pact forged in desperation by Elias Van Helsing himself. Desperate to save his family from a supernatural curse, he had made a deal with a malevolent entity known as the Shadow Weaver. In exchange for unimaginable power, Elias pledged the souls of his bloodline for eternity. With this revelation, The group understood the true scope of the evil they faced. The Shadow Weaver, a force older than time itself, sought to break free from its ethereal prison and unleash chaos upon the world. It fed on the suffering of the Van Helsing spirits, growing stronger with each passing generation. Guided by Celine's wisdom and armed with newfound knowledge, Sarah and her friends embarked on a perilous journey to gather the relics required to sever the unholy bond that shackled the Van Helsings to the Shadow Weaver. The relics were scattered across the land, guarded by spectral minions and ancient curses. As they confronted each trial, the spirits of the Van Helsing family pleaded for release, their anguished cries echoing through the corridors of the mansion. The group wrestled with their own fears and doubts, haunted by the possibility of failure and the consequences it would bring. In their quest, they encountered allies and adversaries alike, otherworldly beings who had long observed the struggle between light and shadow. Among them was an enigmatic figure named Eric, a former servant of the Shadow Weaver who had broken free from its grasp. Eric offered his assistance, his motives shrouded in mystery. The group's journey took them to forgotten realms and forbidden dimensions, each more treacherous than the last. Along the way, they uncovered fragments of a forgotten prophecy that foretold a chosen one, the harbinger of either salvation or doom. As they approached the final confrontation, the mansion itself seemed to come alive, its walls pulsating with dark energy. The air grew heavy with the oppressive presence of the Shadow Weaver, a malevolence that threatened to consume everything in its path. In a climactic battle within the mansion's inner sanctum, the group faced Elias Van Helsing, now an unwilling vessel for the Shadow Weaver's insatiable hunger. The ethereal battlefield crackled with arcane energy as the group unleashed the power of the gathered relics, a desperate attempt to break the curse that bound Elias and banish the Shadow Weaver once and for all. But as the battle reached its zenith, a shocking revelation unfolded. Derek, the mysterious ally, harbored his own dark agenda. With a sinister grin, he betrayed the group, revealing that he sought to harness the power of the Shadow Weaver for his own twisted ambitions. As the mansion quaked with the unleashed power, the fate of the world hung in the balance. Sarah and her friends faced an impossible choice: unleash the power of the relics to defeat the Shadow Weaver, risking their own souls in the process, or succumb to the malevolent force that threatened to consume everything they held dear. With the mansion trembling around them, the group stood at the crossroads of destiny, their resolve tested to the limit. Little did they know that their choices would not only determine the fate of the Van Helsing family, but also decide the very survival of the world itself. In that pivotal moment, Sarah, with tears in her eyes, made a sacrifice that would alter the course of destiny. Embracing the relics with a resolute determination, she channeled the ancient power, releasing a blinding surge of energy that engulfed the room. The Shadow Weaver recoiled, its sinister grip weakening. Eric, caught off guard by Sarah's selfless act, struggled against the tide of light. In a final desperate attempt to seize power, he lunged at the relics. But the ethereal force repelled him, casting him into the abyss. As the light subsided, the mansion fell silent. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the spirits of the Van Helsing family, freed from their torment, ascended into the afterlife. The once ancient mansion now stood in eerie tranquility, its haunted halls reclaimed by the stillness of the night. Celine, her ethereal presence fading, approached Sarah and her friends. "You have done what many deemed impossible. The world owes you a debt of gratitude," she said, her voice carrying a mixture of relief and admiration. But the victory came at a cost. Sarah, weakened by the ordeal, felt the weight of the relic's power coursing through her veins. The prophecy foretold that the chosen one would either become the savior of worlds or succumb to the very darkness they sought to vanquish. With a gentle smile, Celine spoke words of reassurance. Your sacrifice will not be in vain. The power you wield will be a beacon for future generations, a testament to the strength that lies within the human spirit. As the group exited the mansion, the first rays of dawn illuminated the horizon. The forest, once shrouded in darkness, now basked in the warmth of a new day. Sarah, leaning on her friends for support, looked back at the mansion, now a symbol of triumph over malevolence. The tale of Sarah and her friends echoed through time, becoming a cautionary legend told to those who dared tread the line between the living and the supernatural. The relics, safely sealed away, became a beacon of hope for those who faced the encroaching shadows. Yet, as the group left the forest behind, a subtle whisper carried on the wind hinted at an unresolved mystery. The Shadow Weaver, banished but not destroyed, lingered in the shadows of the netherworld, waiting for an opportune moment to rise again. As Sarah and her friends embarked on their journey home, a new chapter unfolded, one filled with uncertainty and the lingering question of whether true darkness could ever be truly vanquished. The echoes of the mansion's haunted past persisted, leaving a chilling legacy that would resonate through the ages. And so, the world remained on the edge of mystery and peril, as the intricate dance between light and shadow continued, an eternal struggle that would forever captivate the hearts and minds of those who dared to explore the unknown.